Darkness stretched endlessly before him. The stars, once a symbol of endless possibilities, now felt like cold, distant witnesses to his solitude. Commander Rayner's escape pod drifted through the vastness of space, silent, isolated. The battle, no, the war was over, and he was the last one left. His helmet was cracked, oxygen levels rapidly depleting. His body trembled as he struggled to maintain control over the pod, every movement more sluggish than the last. He tried activating the emergency beacon, but the static-filled response from the damaged console only deepened the pit in his stomach. No answer. No help. He swallowed hard. He was alone. His enemies could still be out there, but now there was no one to help him. He had no choice but to keep moving. Rayner wasn't alone in the universe, though. He knew that. The haunting silence of space surrounded him, broken only by distant explosions and the distant memory of battle. But here, on the edge of nowhere, he was the last survivor. Everyone else was gone. The memory of it was still fresh. The battlefield had been chaos, debris scattered in all directions, laser fire cutting through the void, the screams of fallen soldiers echoing over comms. It had been a last-ditch effort, a desperate push to survive. In the end, Rayner had made a decision. He'd made the choice to run. He had abandoned his comrades, and now, alone in the endless stretch of space, he had to live with the weight of that decision. He should have fought. He should have died with them. Instead, he fled. The pain of survival was eating him alive. Suddenly, his radar blinked. A flicker, an anomaly in the vast expanse. A distortion, something that shouldn't be there. It pulsed with an energy he couldn't quite place. A heartbeat in the emptiness of space. A rift. Rayner's hands shook as he stared at the screen. A ripple in the fabric of the universe. A tear. The last thing he had expected to find in this dead, forgotten corner of space. He wasn't sure if it was a way to escape or simply a new kind of hell waiting for him. Time had no meaning anymore. How long had it been since he left the battlefield? Hours? Days? Weeks? The escape pod was falling apart around him, barely holding together with makeshift repairs and raw luck. Every beep from the failing radar sent a chill down his spine. His enemies were out there. They were still looking for him. Rayner drifted deeper into the debris field, weaving between wrecked ships and frozen bodies. Every passing ship felt like a reminder. Each one was a lost soul, each hull a grave marker. He had left them all behind. His mind couldn't stop replaying the faces of his fallen comrades, the ones he had failed. The proximity alert broke through the silence, a shrill warning beep. His heart leapt into his throat. A patrol drone, searching for survivors. He had to hide. There was no other option. He cut all power to the pod, holding his breath as the insect-like drone buzzed past, its sensors sweeping the empty space. He didn't move, not a muscle. He couldn't afford to be seen. If they detected him, it would be the end. The drone passed, but the tension remained. His pulse hammered in his ears. His chest was tight, suffocating. He knew they were getting closer. He could feel it. The warship would follow soon, scanning the area, hunting for him. Rayner's hands shook as he adjusted the pod's course, the fading controls responding sluggishly. Every move was a calculation, every second, a gamble. He was being hunted by those he had fought beside, and now he was running. The weight of that guilt pressed down harder with each passing moment. A new alert sounded. A warship entered the sector. His heart skipped a beat. They had found him. There was no more running. He was trapped. With quick reflexes, Rayner fired the last of his fuel reserves, sending the pod hurtling toward the rift he had seen earlier. His hand hovered over the controls, the final decision before him. The warship was closing in, its sensors locked on his position. His enemies were just a breath away. The rift pulsed again, a heartbeat in the dark, beckoning him forward. He didn't hesitate. There was no other way. He had no other choice. Engines sputtering, Rayner steered the pod straight into the unknown. The rift stretched before him like an open wound in the fabric of space. He could feel the pull of it, like gravity, drawing him closer. The stars around him distorted, shifting in ways they shouldn't. The space seemed to twist, stretching as if it were made of liquid. He closed his eyes for a moment, preparing himself. He had survived this long, But at what cost? He was a soldier, a warrior, but now he wasn't even sure what he was fighting for anymore. His mind raced, a whirlwind of guilt and survival. He should have died with his comrades. He had abandoned them. But now there was only the unknown, only the rift, his last hope. With a final, desperate push, Rayner's pod plunged into the rift. Time and space distorted around him, warping and twisting in ways that defied understanding. The pod lurched violently as he felt himself being pulled through the tear in the universe. And then, as quickly as it had begun, everything went still. The stars, the wreckage, the haunting memories, they were gone. All that was left was silence. The pod floated in an unfamiliar space. The rift was gone, swallowed by the unknown. But there was something else, something new. Rayner stared out into the emptiness. The space before him was untouched, untouched by war, untouched by AI, untouched by the battles that had ravaged his world, a place that seemed to exist before any of it had started. The pod was slowly drifting. Rayner didn't know where he was, but he knew one thing for certain. This world was different, and for the first time since the war had started, he felt a flicker of hope.